All right, and we're going to go live here on Facebook, and we'll be all set. All right, everyone. Welcome to how to build your pre-listing packet. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we'll get right into it. So this is not going to be a long class today. This is just to introduce you to what the pre-listing packet is and how to build it. So for most of us, we get our first listing opportunity. We get our first listing opportunity and we're not prepared. So we may even shy away from taking listings. So the more prepared you are ahead of time, doing the pre-listing packet, having a listing presentation, understanding the listing agreement, and talking about scripts to get listings, the better prepared you'll be when the time comes. So let's jump right into it and get started here. So I'm going to share my screen. And in command, and remember that if you go to KW here and click on the red KW, it actually opens these up. So if you're not familiar with the icons, you can see what they are. And we're going to click on designs. And just move this out of the way. Okay, and then I'm going to share my screen. So I don't know if this one, let me stop sharing. It looks like that one's not sharing. Hold on. Okay, see, so is that sharing? I feel like it's not sharing the screen that I want to share. It keeps trying to share this screen.
Which screen are you trying to share? The command. Bring your Zoom back up. And then
There it is.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. All right, we're in now. Can you see that? It's up on the board. All right. Thanks for your help, Lauren. Okay, so you go into designs. Again, you click on the KW. That'll tell you what these icons are. You go into designs, and in here, you can search for any type of design that you want. So we want to do a pre-listing packet. So you just come over to the create design tab. And we're going to do this for print. Now this has import photos and text from a listing. So potentially we could do that. We're not going to get into that part today, but that is a feature that will potentially bring in actual info for your packet. We're not going to have text and photos for a pre-listing packet, but you could take a picture of the house ahead of time before you create this. So you can put a picture of the actual house in that pre-listing packet. Okay, so we're going to create a design. It's going to bring up our menu here. And down here, you can see that there's all different types of templates. Over here are images that you can use. Some are free, some you have to pay for. My designs will actually take you to the ones you've already created that you can edit. So there's tons of designs in here that we've already used in the past. So this is an option as well. Once you've created the initial one, you don't have to go in and do a new one every single time. Let's see what this is. This might be. I'm looking for one of the pre-listing packages I did before. I just want to show you guys what it looks like. I see mostly buyers here, but I think All right, I'll look for that in a minute. I know I have some that I've created. So that's your designs that you can just edit. And then you have assets, which you want to actually build out. Now, some of these are pre-filled for you. These are images I've added. So I have my photo, my logos. One of the things we talked about before is you can create a logo using the KW United, the Realtor, and the Equal Housing Opportunity. You can go into Canva, or you can create something in here and you can screenshot it. And it's an easy way to create a logo that's now a photo that you can use on multiple things. So I've created different versions of the company logo. We also have under logos, you're going to have all the these KW ones should be pre-filled under your assets in Command. If they're not, let's reach out to Lauren and we'll see how to get those in there for you. But these are ones that when your command's set up should be available to you with the KW United logo. So that's where you find them under assets, and then you click on logos. And then text can be pre-filled text bars, so you don't have to retype everything when you're creating a design. So, and you could also, instead of having these, I would assume you could create one that actually has all your contact info in one text block, so you don't actually have to go in and add this one and then the phone number and then something else. So you could probably, and what I do is I'll tend to put things like this together, and then I'll screenshot it again, make a photo. So then when I'm doing some other design, instead of having to worry about all the different text, I've already got my logos, I've already got all my contact info, and it's a photo that I just pop into the new design. So let's go back to templates, and we want to do a listing. And so when you come down here, they don't specifically call it a pre-listing packet, but basically we're using the listing presentation and we're going to edit that. So KW already gives you several design templates. Now you can go in and customize these to your own brand and colors. But we're going to take this one. It looks pretty nice. And we're just going to use this classic design. So you click on the use here. And for you in the room, what is the difference between a pre-listing packet and a listing presentation packet? What do you think the difference is? Why would you have a pre-listing packet?
To inform them, they actually prepare them what's coming their way.
The steps, step by steps, what they are going through.
Yeah, so that's really what the listing presentation is, you know, when you're going to talk to them about the steps. The pre-listing packet could actually have the steps in it. But for most of us, the main reason for the pre-listing packet is you don't want to spend all your time at the listing appointment selling yourself and talking about you and all the marketing you're going to do and all your experience and how great you are. You want to spend the time with them, making them the hero of the story and talking to them about their goals and how we're going to sell their house and how we're going to help them achieve their objective, and getting into pricing. And then the process of here's what happens next as you try to close them at the listing appointment. So you don't want to have to spend a lot of time at the listing appointment trying to sell them on your skills and your expertise. So the pre-listing packet already has your marketing and things about you already built into it. So when you send that ahead of time, you ask them to review it. Now, some people won't, but you're asking them, hey, could you please review this before our meeting on Thursday? It'll give you some great info on how I can help you sell your home. And so they've reviewed that. Then when you get to the listing appointment, and Delora kind of talked about that, you know, you get there, you sit down, you start talking to them. Hey, by the way, did you get a chance to review the information I sent you? And then they'll tell you if they did or didn't. And then you'll kind of do a questionnaire and kind of go through and move on in this process. So it starts with doing a phone call, like a listing qualification call, where they've called in or you're calling them and you kind of pre-qualifying them, finding good information. You're sending out the pre-listing packet. And then hopefully they've reviewed that information when you show up at the listing meeting. So they already know you're a great agent when you walk in the door. And so that's the purpose of a pre-listing packet. So when you do these and you see the listing presentation template, so you could change this to whatever name you want it to be. You could put a picture of the home of the person who you're going to see on the front here. You can see this is 20 pages. You click on that, you see all the pages. And you actually go through one page at a time. And I'm going to see if I can I know there's a way to make the view bigger. We tried this. There we go. See that a little easier. And then you go through and you can add and take away pages. So page 2. So this one's already built out. This is actually instructions on how you can build your pre-listing packet. So page 2, obviously you're going to delete from your pre-listing packet. Page 3 is where you have the client's info, and I may just start with this page. I don't need page 1. That's just kind of fluff or a cover. So, if it's a booklet, maybe you have that if you're kind of putting it in booklet form. But if you're just sending this electronically, you don't necessarily need that. So here you can put their names and, as Drew said, in buying, we're buying a home. This might be a great place to put Maria and Chris Roberts. We're selling your home, and it's like it's just already mentally planting that seed that we're going to sell your home, or we're listing your home, might even be a better one for that. Right here, see where the DBA name is and all that. So again, that's why creating your assets. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to edit this, but you really only have to do it for the first time, because then each time you do it, you're just going to be editing the client info and maybe changing a few photos. But here, you can come here and delete this, or you can do what I do. I've created this logo. I just come here, I click on my logo under my assets that I've created. I come down here and I plop that in right there.
Sorry, can I only one question?
Sure.
Where is you said the logo, right? My asset. Where I am in listing, where do you see you can have this? I think I don't have this logo.
So when you go to my assets, that's when you're on the home.
Yeah, see here, listing, right?
I think you have to click on the home or the KW and then click on logo.
Yeah. I don't have-
You have to upload.
You need to upload, but you said that maybe.
We can check on it. Yeah, because a lot of them are pre-pot. Like I have all these in here and
Yes, they have, right?
you can see.
I need a generic KW United logo as well.
And I may have done it myself at some point. So,
They're not.
I only have
preloaded.
this one.
You
right?
have to-
This
okay.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
But those are the preloaded ones,
Yeah.
probably.
So all the other you have.
I added that. Yeah, I had a whole list of logos and I probably just put them all in myself. And you can see I created these and somehow, I've duplicated them and copied them. But see, I want all this here maybe instead of the logo that was there. Now I need to change her info, right? Well, I can click on all these and I can go up to the typewriter and then I can change it. Again, you only have to do this the first time, but you always want to click on the typewriter. So when you click on text, you don't want to try to change the text in here. It starts squirreling up command. So you click on what you want to edit. And then you come up to the typewriter. See, I've already clicked on it wrong. And then this pops up. And all I need to do is go in and change this info one time from my first pre-listing packet. And now that's been edited. So one of the tricks I learned was I get tired of doing stuff like that. So I would come over and create like a photo. I like to work smarter than harder. So if I created a photo, which I don't know if I have it in here, but I have it on my desktop, I'd have to find it. But I took a screenshot of all this info with my headshot. And now that's a photo as well. So if this was what we're talking about, I would just click this and I would move that right there. And that would be my headshot with all my contact info. And then I would just size it to fit in this little corner right here. So I'm like, oh, okay, I want to make it a little smaller. I want to make it fit and whatever it is. And I could have like this photo has my headshot and all my contact info. And you can literally create that in here on Canva on a presentation in here. And then what you do is you screenshot it. So it's different on different computers, but on Apple, Command-Shift-5 on an Apple product, And that allows you to screenshot anything that's on your, so you have a high resolution version of it, you screenshot it, and you save that as a photo. Now, that's a photo on my computer, and anytime I need to use it, I can just upload that into my assets, and I have all my contact info with my headshot, with my logos I created. And I can just plop that right in, so I don't have to worry about typing anything. So that's a little shortcut that I found that works really well for me.
Whether you just can use snip and sketch.
Yeah, this is what I use.
It's called snip and
Snip and
sketch on Windows. Okay, for you Windows guys. So
And I think you can do that by hitting shift and then the Windows button and then S.
Shift Windows button S, or you can always come in and see Lauren for like some updates on that type of stuff, because I think she's amazing at it. Thank you, Lauren. All right, so we're just going to leave this here for right now. I'm not gonna edit it. And go to the next page. So here is a guide. So if you're going to change this, just remember, if you're not going to follow exactly what it says is in the guide. And like, I don't want her photo there. Why is she on page 2? That's enough about her. This is about you, the client. So, you can move these around if you don't like the way it's laid out. You can do all kinds of things within designs, which you'll need to take the designs training. They have 2 ways to get training on this type of thing. Command offers their monthly course, and they cover designs on one day of the intro course. That's every month. That's kwregion12training.com. And you sign up for next month's September command class. And if you can't do the whole course, just sign up for the whole course. They'll send you the videos and the homework each day. And then you can watch the videos, or you can try to jump in and get better experience. Another thing you can do is go to Marty Miller YouTube channel, type 66-day challenge, and then type the topic. So say command listing presentation or command designs, and Marty Miller's YouTubes will pop up. 5.0 is the most recent. So you'll see they look more modern than his original ones he did 4 years ago. So just search Marty Miller YouTube command designs, and he has little 10 to 15 minute videos covering things just like this. So here's where I would change. Like, this is not a California contemporary. Even if I didn't have pictures of their house, I would come over here and I'd be like, well, I don't really want that. So I'm going to go over to my images, and I'm going to see if there's, I think it's, there you go. Go to workspace. Stock is something they've added where you have all access to all kinds of photos. But if you go to workspace, and then I want a house interior or exterior, I click here, and these are all photos that we can just use. So I'm like, this looks more like a cute Northern Virginia renovated Cape Cod. So I'm going to pop that in there instead of that California contemporary. If I can cover it, I'll just cover it. I don't need to worry about it. But you know what? I want to delete that. I'm just going to come over here, delete that, get rid of it completely. I'm going to put this, I'm going to move this around, play with it, do whatever I want. And now I like that page. I'm good to go. I'm moving on. This menu, you would just click on it, go up to the typewriter and change it if you're renaming things. All right. So now save and save often. So occasionally come up and save, just to make sure if something happens, you're not getting kicked out. And autosave is on, but I like to just periodically save it as well, just to make sure that the changes I've made don't get lost. Oh, and the first thing you always want to do is rename it too. So this is called Classic 01. So I'm going to rename this to, I'm going to call it LP or PLP, pre-listing packet 01. And so I've renamed it. So now it's saved, and then you can copy it and create the next one, and you just name the next one too, or you just put the client's name. And so each time you want to recreate this, you'll just make a copy of it first and immediately rename the new one to the client's name.
So when you say how did you was able to see like this?
See file and then save. and then I click here where the title is and just renamed it by just clicking in there. And then you come down here and so here's the address. So I need to change that. So again, you click on that, go up to the typewriter. And I'm going to change 1050 to 741. 7341, that works too. And oh, I clicked on the wrong one. So I was in that should have corrected that one. I'm not going to say I'm perfect on design, or I'm not going to say that designs is perfect. So it kind of hung up on me here. All right, and this does occasionally happen. That's why I like the save feature. And you've got to be, that's where I feel like you got to be careful to make sure you're using the typewriter, because sometimes you get in here and you start trying to type and you weren't actually on the typewriter. That will throw you off too. So that's our training for today. Thanks for coming out, everyone. All right. So luckily it's still here, not an issue, and I saved it, right? So let's see if it actually saved under my templates.
That was actually perfect timing that you saved it. But I have had many a heart attack where I have been working on a project for hours and then like my computer shuts down or something happens and thinking that I've lost everything, and it usually saves. So
Now, interestingly though, the name didn't change, and that's probably
PLP.
oh, that is me. Okay, so I did change the name as well. All right, so I saved the actual one. You're right, that's PLP01. I usually use a customer's name. Didn't even catch I'm the one that did that. Thank you. So we're back here, we're back to pages, we're coming down, we're like, okay, now we're on this page. And this is where you can put it. So you're like, well, how do I do all this? Well, it's probably a photo. So you're just going to have to snapshot, like go into Bright MLS or use any tools where you're able to gather this info, and then you're going to snapshot it as a photo. So there's many different tools out there. Yeah, like you can even do the home report through KW Command, where it does that neighborhood report that goes out monthly to your clients. You can actually send one of those to yourself, and then you can snapshot kind of that report info. That photo just gets popped in here. And then what's happening in Barton Hills, you could really pull that info from different websites, or just kind of look at research the area and then just plug that in. So this is the only thing that really takes some time, is if you're going to use this slide. Now, what's even better is if you have a tool where you can do like kind of a little market update of what's happening in that area, and it already has a little synopsis, and you can just basically save that page as a photo and just pop it right in here as so anytime you can rather than trying to type all this and do all this, I would rather find a resource where I could just say, this is what's happening in Barton Hills, and it's maybe from using the Command monthly neighborhood nurture report, and you just take a screenshot of here's what's happening in Barton Hills, and you just pop that in. I've also used, there's a fee for it, but Bright MLS has the market stats report, and it's HomeSnap is another place where you can sometimes get good info and snapshot a photo. Smart Charts. So Smart Charts, the free version will give you some info, but neighborhood specific, you probably got to do the paid version, which is like $25 a month. But it gives you lots of nice little info and charts, and that's something, if you're doing a lot of listings, it might be worth investing in, because there's some great tools in there. Bright has tools as well, and we're going to ask Scott Ford to actually do a workshop on how to do market research in Bright, because we were in there playing around last week and found some really good info in there. So again, different ways you could do this. You could type all this stuff. You go up to the typewriter, change the info, or you could just kind of pull something from somewhere else and screenshot it and just plug it into that section. And then the next page is comparable property. So again, this is something you'd have to pull and create. Well, I might just use this slide and I'll just snapshot these photos from Bright MLS just to put some things in there of like, here's a few homes that have recently sold and are active on the market. You might do 1 or 2 pages of that with just a little highlight. So again, this would take some time. This would take you probably 30 minutes to,
Then the screenshot from CMA, you know, like.
yeah, if it's got the info the way you want it, you can lay it out. That'd be much quicker, right? So, it all depends on how much effort and time you want to put into it. Obviously,
You
screenshotting
can
things.
also do on a genetic.
Yep. And you can also, so, and yeah, and then, the generic template is going to have everything except for the most recent information.
Right.
So again, once you've created your initial one, it's only a few slides that you really have to update each time. Here we get into marketing yourself. So this is the marketing that we were talking about. Let me zoom in on that so you guys can see it better. So this is something that, again, can also be edited if you don't like the way it's worded. If this was already created to make it simple for you. Maybe you don't want to include all the pages, but it's about making it about them. So it's just kind of, I love that your needs come first, and then you could have your property. I think goes back to the index where it's so like they're labeled based on the index. That's why if you're going to change things, just the little tabs will actually match like what comes first, and the buyer presentation works the same way. And then we come down here to the next slide and it walks through the process. I love this slide in both buyer and listing presentations because it shows that there's a lot of steps to it. And this is great where someone can see kind of what like you were talking about the process, and they can see there's a lot to it. And you want this to be like a lot. You don't want it to be like 5 things. We want to show that this is a pretty big process. And I might even do a second page of this and add additional items just so the seller realizes there's a lot more to selling your home than just putting a sign in the yard. And then you can talk about the app. So, and you can mention from both perspectives, like this goes out to our buyers so they can find your home. And this is also something where you can kind of see what's happening in the neighborhood. So this is something you could include in a listing packet as well, just to show you're tech savvy and you've got an app, and they can kind of keep in touch.
So when you let them, read by yourself, are you going, when you do the listing presentation,
You're not going through all this.
You don't go back, right?
No, you just ask them. Now, you could highlight a couple of these things during the listing presentation, but the idea is that you're not spending 30 minutes just going through the stuff that they, because now you're really getting into like the meat of the listing present. And I highly recommend due to Laura's class. She did a great one. Do you know if that one was recorded?
Yeah, it's posted on YouTube.
Yeah, so the Lars listing presentation class really talks about the listing presentation side of it. So you can see that, this is just helping you kind of have a guide to give them ahead of time to show. First of all, 50% of the agents probably don't even do one. And I'm saying 50, it could be high. I don't know what the number is,
A
but
pre-listing packet.
right. Pre-listing packet. I would say probably at least half the agents don't even bother with anything. They just show up to the meeting. So just this alone by doing one sets you at least in the professional class of real estate agents. And then, we go through each page, your custom marketing plan. Now this is important because it's already kind of created for you, but you can edit it to the things you don't do for your clients. So you don't want to just send out a generic, we're going to do this, and this, and you're not doing 4, 5, and 6, then make sure you take 4, 5, and 6 out of here. But you want to show your clients, even in the hot market, a lot of agents got a little soft on it and they're like, oh, I'm just going to take some photos, throw it up, and it'll sell anyway. Well, guess who else sees that? The neighbors who look at your listing and see what kind of quality work you did. That neighborhood now, they walk into the open house and they see how the house presents itself. They go online and look at the house and they're like, wow, this agent didn't really put a lot of effort. So even if you don't have to do a whole lot, you want the client to think and see that you are actually doing a lot to sell and market their home. not just for them, but also for the potential referrals and the neighbors that are going to see what you were doing. I was talking to someone and they were like, well, I don't think I want to do this or this. And I was like, well, how much more powerful would that be on your next listing presentation when you can show them that I actually did this, this, and this? And it cost me an extra $15 to get some higher quality photos that I can do a little video with. Like it was almost nothing to be able to have like a nice marketing package that could show that I did the next level. So in this market, you don't want to cut out marketing at all. Staging is extremely important. If you don't know a good stager, I can recommend one for you. And if you if you get quality photos, quality staging, and you do, the general marketing that everyone does, a lot of it's automated, but you don't want the seller to think that anybody can just sell their house. So you want to make sure that everyone, oh, hey, Marion, thanks for jumping in. So you want to make sure that you're showing the seller that you're a pro. This pre-listing packet makes you a pro without you even having ever listed a home before. So we go through the pages, and again, you can take out as many of these as you want to. Not everybody wants a 20-page pamphlet. Some people want to cut this down to 10 pages. Finding your buyer. This kind of talks about the market and buyers. And now this may be a little outdated. You'd have to research the info, but there are charts out there, NVAR, and when we do family reunion, they go through like where buyers came from, and that info gets published. So you can grab that from the Association of Realtors and update this. And it's basically saying that, it's letting them know that putting the yard sign up isn't where you normally sell your house. It takes real estate agents. So for sale by owner is missing all of this to sell their home. So there's different reasons why you'd want this in there, but ultimately at the end of the day, you need a real estate agent to get the most eyes in front of your home, and everything gets syndicated. So it's going everywhere. And then this picture is kind of nice because it's like, now if you're not doing these kind of assets, you don't necessarily want that slide in there, but it talks about, as we zoom in here, so you can see it, flyers, landing pages, postcards, all this is available to do in Command. If you're not doing something in here, just edit this and take out the part you're not doing, so that you don't want to misrepresent how you're going to market the home. But at the same time, most of this stuff you can actually do, even though you're maybe a brand new agent, have never done it before. You'd be surprised how much stuff is very easy for even a new agent. So your media plan. All right. So here's again where I might change the photos. I don't want California contemporary photos because that's just not this area. So I might want to go in and change some of this. Let me zoom in here on it for you. This is the important part that I think, besides selling yourself, is showing that, hey, I'm doing brochures. I'm doing a just listed flyer. I'm doing just listed postcards. If you're not doing those, take them out. Coming soon, open house, custom property website. Do you realize that once you get the photos taken, you can go on to GoDaddy for 10 to 15 bucks. You can get the first year. You can get 1713bartonhills.com. And you can have a link. So when the photographer does the photos, it actually has a system where you can put it into like a video, and then that link can take you right to that property's information. Not that hard to do, doesn't really cost a lot of money, but it's a way to set yourself apart. And then you can put that, bartonhills.com or whatever you call it on your listing sign as well. So on my listing sign, I went and spent 30 bucks and they created a custom rider. You can also do a QR code. So you could have bartonhills.com and then also the little QR code scanner. You can create a QR and you can make a sticker. They're basically vinyl stickers. They can do them at the FedEx office. They can print little vinyl stickers with the QR code, and you can have that in your open house too. So like I can have that QR code on when they come in. Here's info on the property. It's on the listing sign outside. So there's a lot of ways we can up our game. The seller doesn't know that it's simple to do that. They just see you doing more than the competition without a lot of extra work.
What I do is that I use the command page for that listing. And I use that web address either use Bitly or something to like direct them to that.
That's right, because you can do the command landing pages now too. So
That's how I,
that's another one where it can go to the command landing page to help you generate traffic. So
and it already has my information on it.
perfect. So thank you for that. And would you like to teach a class on how to do that? Thank you. We'll take you up on that. All right. So again, lots of info. Facebook and Instagram posts, you can do those for free. You can boost a post or run an ad for like $30. You don't have to tell your client I'm spending $500 on Facebook ads. Just tell them I'm marketing your property everywhere. Whatever you have in here, just make sure you are doing it. Don't put paid boosted Facebook ads if you're actually not going to do that. Again, $30, you can do it. So it's not a bad idea to just be able to show the client you did it and also be able to show future sellers that you're doing it. And so you just go through each page, update this customized marketing plan to your info, then it gets into promotion. So again, if you're doing different steps, this is all editable. So you just click on the words, come up to the typewriter, and it's like, I'm going to change this to something else, or I'm going to add a step. So anything you want to do here, and let's go ahead and save this, like we said before, file, and it's auto saving, but let's just make sure it's saved. I like to do that periodically just to make sure I didn't lose any of my hard work. Again, this ties into the index at the beginning that tells you kind of, so you want to make sure if you are taking things out and adding things, you might want to add this little thing to match the index at the beginning. The promotion part coming soon. So this is the process you'll be talking about at the listing presentation. We're gonna start with a coming soon and how long you want to do that and a just listed campaign. And now in today's market, there was a challenge started a couple, even a few years ago before the pandemic. You put a house on the market and it sold in 4 days. You didn't have a whole lot of time to do any kind of real campaigns other than just listed, and then just sold was like 2 weeks later. So by the time they got the just listed postcard, it was already under contract sometimes. So this, you just again edit it, but the more you're showing that you're doing, the more it looks like, hey, this person has a lot of steps to their selling process, and they must be putting a lot of effort in to sell my house. They're not just sticking it in the MLS and putting a sign up. And that's a big part of this pre-listing packet, is to show you as a professional. This is a whole page on just the open house strategy and captivating staging. Who here knows a good stager?
We can put Veronica's info in the chat if the people in the chat.
Veronica Rizzo, everyone. Say hi, Veronica.
Hi, everybody. I can definitely share a flyer if you guys want. Something, everybody.
Oh yeah, if you want staging info, and also staging consultations, right?
I can make you.
Yeah, so when you do your listing presentation, you can have different levels of service you offer. So you could be, here's our, you send everything that you potentially do. Now that's another way to do it. Like, we're not necessarily doing everything that's in this pre-listing packet, but this includes everything you could have. Then at your listing presentation, it's like we have option A, B, and C, or we have our, preferred, VIP and whatever, basic, preferred, and VIP level. And each one of those levels has different. So here's all the marketing. Here's the different levels that we offer, for and typically you want to try. Now staging obviously can be a lot more expensive. So if you're a newer agent, you're probably not paying for staging. That's something your client, but you could offer a staging consultation as part of so it comes with a staging consultation. It comes with this, this, and this. And that one is your 6% listing. Your 5.5 is, has a few less things. And then your 5% listing is your standard package with full service marketing and everything, but you want to make these added values on these add-ons. Big houses like drone video, stuff like that, that's going to be a lot more expensive. So you go in again, edit these pages. Now we're getting towards the end here and we're right on time. I wanted to keep this at, just about 45 minutes today, so we're just about done. It's in the detail. So this is just showing again, you're a professional. I love this eye-catching yard signs, your listing amplified. Door knocking. If you're not door knocking, don't put your door knocking. But chances are, if you're not door knocking, you could get the person doing the open house to door knock for you. So you could, even if you weren't door knocking yourself, you could make sure that someone does. We've got people in the office that are intentionally door knocking. High quality professional photography, mass mobile marketing through your app and other methods. So these are all things that we're really should be doing on a standard listing. And then as we get to the end here, this is where you talk about yourself. So if you've never sold a house and you haven't been in business 15 years, you're going to ask, well, what do I put here? Well, you can change these numbers to things that make sense to you. So 15 years in business, 268 client. Well, I'm a brand new agent. I don't have any of this. You could put our team and you could talk about our coaching program, or our team and you could talk about Drew Swirsky and what our office does. So you can use office numbers. That's something I'd like to work with Lauren on, to maybe see if we can start putting together like statistics updated maybe monthly, along with like just general for people that like, hey, I need to have some credibility and some accolades and some information. Experience can come from many different ways. So when we talked about my buying presentation, I changed this information around when I had originally created mine, because I just didn't have as much experience, and I'll show you that in a minute. So you go in and edit. Again, we talked about change your headshot, click on the plus, add the photo. I can just come over here and I can cut that out. Or I decided I don't want to do that one, but I had created my photo and logo together, which again, I don't know if I don't know if I have the one. Yeah, I do. There's one. So I might say, okay, I want to have this one that has my photo and my logo kind of there. That one, the other one has the KW. This one doesn't, but that's all my, that's me. I've decided I'm going to highlight that I'm a military. So I've already right now, just by getting these 2 designations, which anybody can get if you take the classes. Now I've already added to my credibility. And I've also taken the pricing PSA. I think it's another designation, pricing strategy expert, or now whatever. I forget what it's called. I never paid to get the designation, but I've taken it and I'm eligible to get it. That's another one. Like for listings, you could be a pricing, expert. So you go in, and again, we talked about how instead of typing all this in, you could kind of take this from something you've created, and it could be a photo that includes all your credentials. Then you just pop that photo on here instead of having to go in and type everything. But you'll edit that, and then I got to come here and I'm like, okay, I need to put my KW United logo down here. So I'm going to just add that one. So now, change the size. I'm going to make sure any kind of statements that need to be required are there. And then over here, this is all editable. So this is not a screenshot. Once you create this, though, you could screenshot it. So it's just a photo you could use on other things. So we're going to come up here, hit file and save again, just to make sure we're all saved. We're coming to the very, there's more slides. I'm not going to go through all these, but I just want you to see, all kinds of statistics you can put in there. And again, this one will be really great for office statistics when we don't have our own. You see this one, Lauren?
Mhm.
That would be a perfect type of page. Like the proof is in our numbers, and you just say, instead of you just change it to our, and you put all kinds of office and team stats in there.
And also, we have our financials now posted outside of Diane's office. So if you ever, like at any point in time, you ever want to post on your Facebook or send out in like an email newsletter campaign or on a postcard, you can always look at our office financials that are updated and outside of Diane's office, even if we're not here.
So on my first, thank you. On my first listing presentation, I was trying to go through all kinds of stuff like this. My first buyers, I was like, this doesn't make sense, because I spent so much time talking about this stuff. I'm not talking about the buyer and their needs. And that's why the pre-listing packet, this shows you like all these credentials for KW and you can add on to this more recent ones. This is great info to send out and maybe you include this, maybe you don't. But it talks about KW. So when they're comparing maybe brokerages, more importantly is brokerage, I think for some people will be important. Like they've heard of, like there are people who will be like, I've never heard of that company or whatever. You can show that your company shines. It's good, but you don't want to spend like half your listing presentation talking about this kind of stuff. So that's why the pre-listing packet covers it. And there's tons of accolades that our office has done. And then KW is a company that people can see, okay, I'm working with someone that's knows what they're doing and they're reputable. And again, same kind of thing, talks about that. That's our win-win, our Y, 4 C's, 2 T's, and T's, ES. So Y, WI, 4 C's, 2 T's is our whole strategy. It's posted on our hallway. It's our Keller Williams motto, and again, these slides can be put in depending on the client. When you're talking to them on the phone, if they're not like an info person and they're like, you don't necessarily need to put everything. You choose what makes sense. This is like past sales. Well, again, you may not have your own, but they post them on our social media page all the time. So we could put these into like a little, template just to share of like, here's our recent sales and just create those from sales that the office has had. And that just different ways of doing that. And again, you could use any one or all of these pages. I wouldn't send 15 of these. I would maybe just pick one. But these are here to give you different examples. Here are your like referral recommendation, like so-and-so did a great job, so that's, if you've had any kind of recommendations posted anywhere on your page, on Zillow, on your Facebook page, on your website, you can plug these in here, even if they're not listing related, but then you could also maybe plug in some stuff that, again, our office has had success in. When you're on a team, like in the coaching program, you are part of a team. So, that team stuff counts towards your experience. Just kind of a summary page. And it looks like it froze up again. And so anyway, guys, that's a good time to wrap this up. I hope this was helpful. Those last pages, again, it's just finishing up. You pick the pages you want, you delete the ones you don't, you save it, and it becomes a great way for you to have a listing presentation. Now I'm going to stop share for a minute, and I'm going to actually pull up one that I did just to show you. I created this very quickly. I just got to remember where I put it. I'll share this with you in a second, but I want to show you one that I was going to meet someone. I'm like, oh, I need to have, let's see, it might be under my, it's in here. There we go. So this is one that I threw together fairly quickly. I'll share it in just a second. Just to show you, I went and took a picture of the front of the house, so it was more customized to them. Here's where I talked about where this is a screenshot. So I created this as a screenshot, so I didn't have to like put all my contact info. So you can see it's really easy to read. I've got the KW logo, the KW info. So again, you could screenshot this, then you don't have to worry about typing that stuff. It's just a photo you pop in your presentation. I took pictures of like similar townhomes and things like I didn't want the presentation to be all different types of houses that aren't related to their community and neighborhood. Here's our little index, and then it talks about their property with just some basic info. It didn't take me too long to put that together. What's happening in Kingstown? This is the smart charts that we were talking about, Smart Charts Pro. So I actually went in and screenshotted this to have like some cool little info that shows, I'm smarter than the average agent, maybe, in appearance. And then I talked a little bit about the market in the area and their house was not updated and needed a lot of work. So I specifically talked about what's hot right now, what people are looking for. And their house had nothing that's on this list. So there's a psychology behind that. This is what people want. You have none of that. So your price is probably going to have to be a lot lower. And again, we talked about the process. You can see there's a lot of stuff in there, so this took me very little time to create. And the next time I do one, all I really need to do is edit the names and the picture here. I come down and maybe I want to change a couple photos, just customize to that neighborhood or whatever. I come down here, I'm just going to update this slide. So that's going to take me, that might take me 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 or 30 for these couple slides, 30 minutes probably at the most to just get this stuff done. That's specific to the house. And then the rest is all pretty generic. This needs to be updated if you don't, if it's not the most recent. But this one doesn't give percentages. So this is pretty good where you actually just use it. They're not going to go look and say, oh, well, that's actually not true. Because you don't want to have actual percentages on it. It's going to be similar, but it may have, the pie slices may be a little different size in today's market. And then promotional assets, showing them that, I was going against Tom and Cindy on this deal. So I want to make sure that I've got a full plan to market their house. Now, I did not get in and change all these because it had all the info on them and I just didn't have the time to do that. But I'd like to see maybe if there's a way we could pull some of these other assets from in there and have this kind of stuff, a different style, but that's not a big deal. And all this stuff that marketing wise, I'm doing all this, everything that was on here. And I even added, see right here, I added Google ads and Waze ads because I do that on my listings through HomeSnap and I pay a little extra. But it's great because when I tell someone, it's like, oh yeah, I even advertise your home on Waze. So when someone's driving by, it pops up and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never even heard like they just, and it gives you a nice report and a lot of people see it on Google. So there's a lot of ways that we can market without really having to do much. I did pay a little bit of money for that. You kind of pick your budget, but just to be able to tell some, even if your budget was really small, I'm going to spend $100, $200 to market your property. You don't tell them how much you're spending. But you can say, we're doing this, and this. So I customized this, did not take long. And I had a nice pre-listing packet to send out to my clients. The Y Keller Williams, you can see I updated. The one we were on only had through 2019. I added 20 and 21. I went and looked up some info and added it to this. So now we need some 2022 info on here. Real value, real experience. All right, this is what we were talking about. I don't have 28 years in real estate, but I have 28 years of sales, marketing, and negotiating experience. So that's a true statement. Rima actually did her presentation and put our team has 28 years of sales, marketing and negotiating experience. 380 hours. I can guarantee you that number's increased now to probably over 500. So I'll do a rough estimate. And when I say industry training, I go to training classes several times a week. I've been doing it for years. So that shows that that's a way for me to say how experienced and expert I am, even though I haven't been doing this forever. Now I am 5 years in the business. So I can mention, I could put, 5 years in the real estate industry with over 560 hours of industry training. I could change that now But when I'm brand new and I've only been in it for 6 months, I don't want to highlight that I've only been doing this for 6 months when I'm trying to sell someone's home. The average sale price over list price, I can go into HomeSnap and actually see what mine is right now. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that tool, but I'm looking at my HomeSnap app right now. And I think it actually tells me my average pro agents. Let's see. No, it's under me. My agent only profile. It has 8 listing sides and 8 buyer sides. And when I look at that, I can analyze the listing size, click on that, and it tells me, now my number's off a little bit because we have this one house that's been on the market forever. But my average days on market for the sold houses was 4 days. And my average sales price was $645. And my sales price was actually not 103%. I actually had 7.4% over the original price. So my numbers are right in HomeSnap that I could just plug right into here. And I could say I'm 107% average sale over list price. And that's numbers. If someone looked me up, they could be like, oh yeah, I guess that is true. Average days on market 4 days. So again, the market shifted, and that's not going to always be the case. But whatever it is, you want to highlight all my reviews 100%. I didn't put how many, some agents have 1,000 reviews. I don't have 1,000. So instead of putting 25 5-star reviews or whatever, I just put 100%. So I've now created, something that says, hey, this guy's a pro, he knows what he's doing, without having actually done 20 years of listings. And then your reviews. So again, I created that page. I need to update this, but I've got, and then this was for COVID, was, showing safely, again, not as important now, but this was something I created fairly quickly. And now I've got this template to edit in the future. So thank you guys for all coming. Are there any questions on the chat before we click off? Looks like we're all good. I'm going to stop sharing and stop the live on Facebook. Thank you everyone who joined us. And you guys have a great day.